Linear Equations, Part 7. In today's lesson, students will write linear equations when given slope and one coordinate point. When given what? Slope and one coordinate point. Very good. Now that you know how to find slope, you will be asked to write a linear equation when you are already given the slope and 1 point, because that's all you need, okay? When we write linear equations, we use our favorite form, which is your mama's ex-boyfriend, right? Usually, we are used to identifying your mama and the boyfriend, right? We know how to find M, what is M, and what is B. What is M? M is slope, that's right. And B is the, which intercept? The y-intercept. Very good. What intercept is it? The y-intercept. B is the y-intercept. Now this time, we're going to be given a point. Now coordinate points start X, Y. What do they start with? X and then Y. So we're going to be following a series of steps, okay, a sequence of steps in order to make an equation. And we're going to be looking at word problems. The first word problem, number 1 on your paper. Read it with me. Everyone read it with me. Say, what is the equation of a line with a slope of 3 that passes through the point 2, 8? So we're going to identify 3 variables. How many variables? 3. The first thing we want to find, of course, we always start with your mama, okay, which is the slope, which is M. What is the slope? Let's see, what is the equation of a line with a slope of 3? And we underline that. I usually like to use red for slope. So what is slope? What is M? M equals 3. Okay? All right. Now, let's look at the point that we're given. What point is this? It's 2, 8. And remember that with coordinate points, X comes first. So X I'm going to put in brown, if you can see that. And then what is Y? So X is 2. And then Y is, what is it? It's 8. So we have 3 variables that we've identified. Okay, we have M is 3, X is 2, and Y is 8. So in order to now make an equation with this information, okay, if we want to make an equation with this information, we need to plug it in. And when we do that, we're really substituting. I'm telling you, if the slope is 3, then in the place of M, couldn't you just write a 3? Right? That's actually the first step, which is plug in M. What's the first step? Plug in M. So we look at your mama's ex-boyfriend, and then we do that, okay? I'm just going to make this, M is going to be in red. So you're going to write Y equals your what? Your mama. Who's your mama? M is 3. Now 3 is being multiplied by X, and then you're going to add B to it, okay? All right, so we plugged in M. The second step, let's read it together, is plug in X and Y. So now you ask yourself, what is X and Y? Well, X is 2, and Y is, what's Y? It's 8. So we're going to use the same formula, your mama's ex-boyfriend, and we already have 3. But you have to notice something. 3 is being what? It's married to X, right? It is. So they're being, what's this? Multiplied. So now we're going to plug in X and Y. So what is Y? Y is 8. Very good. So in the place of y, we write 8. We write 8 equals, we already know that m is 3, but m is being married or multiplied by x. What is x? X is 2. So in parentheses, because we use parentheses to show multiplication, we're going to write multiplied by 2. And then we're going to add it to b. And I'm going to write this in green. Okay? All right. So now we're going to take a look at what this says. It says 8 equals 3 times 2 plus b. Now hold on. We have to really look at what that's saying. What is 3 times 2? 3 times 2 is 6. All right? So we're going to write, well, 8 equals, what's 3 times 2? 3 times 2 is 6 plus b. All right, now we can take a look at the third step. Everybody read the third step with me. It says, solve for b. Can we solve for b? If we know that 8 equals 6 plus b, that's like saying b plus 6 is 8. Some number plus 6 is 8. What is that number? So if you remember how to solve equations, you're going to put a T-bone steak where the equal sign is. Okay, b is being added to 6. 6 is positive. So we want to get b by itself. What is the y-intercept? We ask ourselves, what's the y-intercept? So we're going to do what to both sides? What's the opposite of positive 6? Negative 6. Good. So then positive 6 and negative 6 make 0. And what does b equal? B equals 8 take away 6. What's 8 take away 6? 2. Very good. So we know that b equals 2. And what we're going to do is we're going to use b now. Okay? We've used m, x, and y to find the y-intercept, which is b. Okay? So the last step is to plug in b. Now, what is b again? B is the y-intercept. We just found b. b equals 2. So we're going to plug in b, and we're going to plug in yo mama. We're going to plug in m. Okay, because just like you look for the slope and the y-intercept when you go to graph a line, those are the two variables that you need to make a linear equation. What kind of equation? A? Very good. So you have to remember this equation, yo mama's ex-boyfriend, y equals mx plus b. So we're going to keep y the same. It equals m. What is m? What did we find for m, or what was given to us actually? It was given that m was 3. Okay, so m is 3. We keep x, but then we plug in b. What did we just find for b? b equals, what's b? b is 2. Okay, so this is the equation for our line, and this is the fourth step. Now the last step, of course, is to graph that equation, y equals 3x plus 2. Okay, so you know that the slope is 3, but when you go to graph the slope, okay, let's go over this one more time. You have m equals 3, but it has to be a fraction, so it's 3 over what? M is 3 over 1. Or you could also have, because positive 3 over positive 1 is the same as negative 3 over negative 1, okay? Because negative divided by negative is positive. So remember that when you go to graph, right? You have yo mama, it's 3. The y-intercept, which is the boyfriend, yo mama's ex-boyfriend, is 2, okay? B is 2. So when you go to graph, you're going to start it at 2, okay? You're going to start it at positive 2 on which axis? Do you always start with the y-axis when you go to graph a line? So you say b is 2. Now you're going to go up, how many? You're going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and over, how many? 1. Okay, you're going to go up 3 and over 1. Now you've run out of room. So what do we have to do here? Now we have to go down 3 and to the negative direction 1. So if we go down 3, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and over in the negative direction, negative to the left, over 1. Okay? So those are your 3 coordinate points that you can connect to make a line. Okay, and you're going to notice that slopes with numbers like 3 or big numbers have very steep lines. Now let's try number 2. Read it with me. Ready? Go. It says, what is the equation of a line with a slope of 2 that passes through the point 4, 12? So now we're going to identify 3 variables. We're going to identify the slope, the what? The slope. We're going to identify x, what? X, and we're going to identify y, okay? So let's identify those. We're going to underline the slope. It tells you what the slope is, right? It says the slope is 2. So m, which is the slope, is 2, all right? Now, x and y, we need to label x and y. In a coordinate point, x comes first. And then you have y, okay? So, x is, what is it? X is 4, and y is 12. Y is 12. So if we're going to make an equation for this line, we have to plug in variables into Yo Mama's ex-boyfriend. The first step to doing that, okay, is plug in M. What's the first step? Plug in M. So when we plug in M, we say, Yo Mama, okay? Who's Mama? The slope is 2. So we're going to plug in M. So y equals 2. And then we just continue. X plus b. Great. Okay. The second step, read it with me. Plug in x and y. So then we already plugged in the slope, right? Now we're going to plug in x and y. So x is, what is x? X is 4 and y is 12. So let's go ahead. We have to start with y, right? Always start with y. So if y is 12, we're going to say 12 equals. Remember, 2 and x are married. They're being multiplied. So we're going to say 2, and in parentheses, x. What is x? 2 times 4. Good job. Plus b. Now we're doing this so we can find b. That's the next step. Okay, is to solve for b. But before we do that, we have to figure out what is 2 times 4. So it's okay. We rewrite as 12 equals 2 times 4 is 8 plus b. Now we can solve for b, friends. Solve for b is the third step. So we can draw a T-bone steak and ask ourselves, well, if we want to find b on this side, what is the opposite of 8? Opposite of 8 is negative 8. So you can subtract 8 from both sides. And again, we have that b equals, what's 12 minus 8? 4. Okay? So b equals 4. I'm just going to write this over here. B is which intercept? Which intercept is b? It's the y-intercept, okay? Now the last step, of course, is to plug in b and m into Yo Mama's ex-boyfriend. Plug in b and m. So we're going to have to write that equation again. Okay, so if we know the equation is y equals mx plus b. Now we're going to plug in m and we're going to plug in b. So b is 4. What is m again? M is 2. So keep y the same. Say y equals, m is 2. Y equals 2x. And then what's b, my friends? B is 4. So it's 2x plus 4. And that's the equation linear equation that we now have to graph. Okay, so we're going to graph that together. Okay, when you graph, you identify two things. Just like you plugged in B and M, you have to know what is M and what is B. So we know B is 4. That's the one we start with. That's the boyfriend, right? That's where you always start to find mama. And what is the slope again? The slope is 2, right? So the slope is 2, but it needs to be a fraction. You can make any whole number a fraction by putting 2 over 1. And remember what happens here. It could be 2 over 1 or what? What? Negative 2 over negative 1. Or what? Negative 2 over negative 1. So we're going to start with the boyfriend. The boyfriend is 4, right? That's on the y-intercept. It goes up and down. Which way does the y-intercept go? It goes up and down. So we'll start with the y-intercept at 4. Positive 4. Here we are. Okay. Now we're going to go up 2 and over 1. And in the negative direction, we're going to go down 2 and over to the left 1. Okay? Do we all get those points? Okay. So we connect the 3 dots to make our line. Okay. And that is how to use slope y-intercept to graph a line.